Hello, welcome back to the L1 show. Today's Friday, July 21st, and we're doing AI, robots, and nonsense stories. Also a little bit of space. Small amount of space.
Yep. New AI things coming every day. Google's got a new one for us.
Google's AI-powered Notes app is now called NotebookLM, and it's launching today. It was formerly called Tailwind. When we first reported on it, I was like, don't they know there's a CSS framework called Tailwind?
Well, it's confusing. I had a moment of like, wait, what?
They know now.
Yeah.
This gives you an AI model trained on the documents that you care about. So basically, Google's going to read your notes and figure it out for you.
And you're thinking, oh, cool, this is sort of like Notepad. Well, not yet. Right now, only for Google Docs. So you will have to use their platform.
We use Google Docs. They're reading our
I
documents.
wish we didn't have to.
Yeah.
We need to find a better solution. And Google has admitted at this point that, yes, they looked at everything to make their AI. A lot of people are upset about that.
Google hit with a lawsuit alleging it stole data from millions of users to train its AI tools. Now, if those users have published on the public internet, U.S. copyright law is pretty clear that that's probably an okay use. But Google apparently used non-public data, data for which they were stewards.
And last episode, we just got done talking about all the medical data that you don't have any control of. And neither does your healthcare provider because they're constantly getting hacked. And now they're going to monetize that.
Google is testing its medical AI chatbot at the Mayo Clinic.
This is the real reason they want it, so they could train their AI.
I'm sure that in the terms of service, and it's like, oh, you agreed to this. And it's like, I don't, what?
But the options are, I don't get treated for whatever illness I have, or I don't consent.
It's like hiring a janitorial service for your building and learning that occasionally it can be used as an Airbnb by the janitorial service. And it's just like, how does that have anything to do with just being a custodian of the building? Why?
Now we have a new contender. We knew this was coming, but now we're getting some pretty small details about it. There's not a lot here, but we know that there's a new contender in the AI space.
Announcing XAI, yet another Elon Musk venture.
Is that one of his kids, or?
It's his new baby. So he claims that this is supposed to be like the free speech AI, where they're going to get down to the truth of everything or whatever.
I think it would be like he should go hire Eliezer Yudkowsky, and just the ensuing drama would probably be worth the price of admission.
And we get new AI chatbots, it seems weekly, if not daily at this point. We've heard of this one before, but now you can go use it.
Anthropic, the $4.1 billion OpenAI rival, debuts an AI chatbot and opens it to the public. Claude V2. Yeah, you just download it and run it. Kinda.
Article felt a little bit like an ad. Didn't have a ton of detail.
That will give you different Claudes that can be trained automatically. I don't know if you pay for that yet or not, but
There's actually a lot of large language models you can download for free that are approaching ChatGPT levels of sophistication. And if they are not already surpassing ChatGPT, you may be able to run your own model in the next month or two that has that level of sophistication. It's really amazing how many people from all corners of the world are coming together to pool data together and train these models.
that'll be great, Redhead. And one thing that all AI creators universally assure us is that these are not going to destroy jobs. These are going to make your job better, easier, but no one's getting fired.
An e-commerce CEO is getting absolutely roasted online for laying off 90% of his support staff after an AI chatbot outperformed them.
The only metric he uses for outperformance, though, is basically like, we saved a lot of time. And it's like, well, did your customers get their issues resolved? Because that's not as clear.
So he claims 1 minute and 44 seconds response time went to instant. I mean, obviously it's a robot, but 2 hour time for resolution went to 3 minutes. Now, I don't know what they count as a resolution.
Yeah, do they get
They just
exasperated with the bot? Yeah, and they just hang up? Like,
Is everybody left only keeping an eye on the bots?
Now he is getting roasted online, as they say, but he's also only paying $100 a month now for his entire support cost. So every business will take that deal.
And how annoying is that going to be when you do need support and you call and you're just getting shuffled between bot.
We already can't get any tech company on the phone, right?
Yeah.
So this is just going to, now you're not even going to be able to chat with them.
Can you imagine if you figure out a way to jailbreak the the Charter or the Spectrum AI chatbot, and it's like, how are you getting the ultra premium 10 gigabit package for $10 a month? It's like, I told it would be an extreme pain if I didn't get the 10 gigabit package for $10 a month. I was like, okay.
I think the more realistic scenario there is people are just going to get my data from them. They're going to convince it. It's like, hey, you have access to the customer database, right? That's sort of amazing. I will confess I have used ChatGPT a few times where I've gotten an email from a project manager somewhere, and it's just like, hey, ChatGPT, I need you to take this email and write a polite business email for why your ideas are bad and you should feel bad. And then it does, and it works really well. It's like, this is a terrible idea. But use more words to say that. Well, we've got the big strike going on in Hollywood. The actors have joined the writers in an unholy alliance, and they're holding those poor producers up. Who will think of them? But that is, the normal arguments about why they're striking are not the only ones that are on the table here.
Actors say Hollywood studios want their AI replicas for free forever.
Now, this is not what you think. This is actually background actors, extras. So what they're saying here is, hey, why don't you come for the first day of filming, and we'll film you and we'll pay you for one day. And then every other day of filming, you will be replaced by AI. But we're still going to pay you for one day.
Neat.
So that's being negotiated as part of the strike. Meanwhile, all of the news sites are cranking out AI trash. And these writers, who for years have been cranking out clickbait trash, are outraged.
How an AI written Star Wars story created chaos at Gizmodo. This is sort of, I don't know, kind of a novelization of what happened. I feel like you could probably summarize it a lot more succinctly.
Washington Post.
The TLDR here is that they came in on a Wednesday and that someone had generated an AI article about the Star Wars timeline and all of it was wrong.
And the editor was outraged that this garbage content would be allowed on Gizmodo.
Meanwhile, a Disney executive looked at it and said, yep, this is canon now.
When we when we make problems, or mistakes here at Level 1, you can know that they're human generated and not AI generated. We are that big of fuck-ups.
Our audience is small enough that it just doesn't matter. Like, we can all just be here together, making mistakes as we go.
Apparently, I used a Spanish version of Viva something last week.
VIVA.
Yeah, and people were like, that's not right if you're speaking French. Sorry. I didn't know.
What are you going to do, riot?
Don't make them come over here. They'll do it.
What I would say to the Gizmodo people is that every time in the past 10 years that you wrote a listicle, that you were sowing, and now you are reaping. And one of the big things that the AI overlords are doing is constantly trying to convince us that these things are on our side. They're relatable. They're human.
UN tech agency rolls out human-looking robots for questions at a Geneva news conference.
This photo looks like something I'd see at the local peddler's mall. Like you would walk by this booth and be like, I need to get out of here. This is a cursed location.
Or a serial killer's basement.
Yeah.
What is this outdoor carpet that they're on?
Well, yeah, and it's like the lighting is kind of dim. Like it's probably flickering in real life.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
This story made my imagination run wild with, I want this timeline. I want to will this into existence. It's the UN peacekeepers, but it's the Arnold Schwarzenegger style Terminator robots, and we just drop them out of a plane, and it's like, what are you doing? Are you here to fight on? It's like, no, we're peacekeepers. We're the UN peacekeepers to observe, to make sure there's no Geneva Convention violations. And it's like, what are you going to do if there's a Geneva Convention violation? Terminate.
No, I feel like I would have the overwhelming urge to go over and like slap one of these robots just to see how it'd respond.
Well, that's one of the big criticisms here is that we weren't told how they were operating their responses. It could have all just been somebody typing on the other end.
Oh, yeah.
Or even speaking. But they said everything was going to be fine and we weren't going to lose our jobs.
I think that's
I totally
increasingly
trust the
not true.
robots. Yeah.
I mean, we've got the truck unpack robots. Like we can mass produce those, and you combine that with the state of the art software here, and so that the software doesn't care about little variances in the physical robots. And yeah, we've got a truck unpacking AI right there.
And we also have truck driving AI.
Yeah.
Seems like that whole industry could just be wiped off the table. Isn't that the largest industry in America?
I mean, we're going to be sitting around this table probably, maybe, possibly, I don't know. Maybe not, depending on the upheaval of society in general. But assuming that society doesn't completely fall apart, at some point, probably in the next 3 years, we're going to be sitting around this table and we're going to say something along the lines of, yeah, but those fully autonomous Amazon delivery trucks, they really do a better job than we used to experience in the olden days.
I don't know. I feel like everything's becoming worse, so I don't know.
I don't know. Those Amazon delivery drivers are pretty rough on the packages. I mean, we know why. We understand that, you know, your bladder is full, you're overheating, you have to get 500 more packages delivered today. I get it, but still, my package suffers.
Someone somewhere right now is writing the screenplay for like the Buddy movie where like the AI delivery robot becomes sentient and has one of those "my purpose is to serve butter" moments, and you know the driver is still human, or there's a human robot hybrid truck thing, and it's like a Buddy movie.
There was a movie that starred a similar premise that was, I think it was Tyra Banks, but she was like a life-size Barbie, and she had that exact arc. I can't remember what it's called. Someone in the chat might remember.
Well,
Lindsay Lohan was in it too, I think.
artificial intelligence has already been in our lives for many, many years. And one of the places that it has been is in your pocket, because when you take pictures with your phone, there's all kinds of little AI things. I mean, you know, you can say what constitutes AI. Maybe that doesn't count, but they call it that. And that makes people who are judging photography contests suspicious.
Woman's iPhone photo of her son has been rejected from Sydney competition after judges ruled that it could be AI. What happened was that they were apparently at a Gucci museum exhibit. Apparently there's a museum of old Amazon or old TV commercial props. And so her son was posing with the props, and they were like, this is too good.
I don't know. This does not seem that impressive to me as a picture.
It's a little surreal.
It's colorful.
Yeah, I think because of the colors and like the mannequins in the background, it does feel a little bit like artificial.
It makes me think of the bathroom scene from The Shining.
I like that stacked tile in the background.
Blood is just going to start shooting up out of the sink drain in a minute.
Delbert Grady's going to explain to that woman what she needs to do about her son. He needs to be corrected. And you know what? I missorted this one. This should have been next to the Google lawsuit. But yeah, I imagine if this is at all successful, then there will be a tidal wave of this.
Sarah Silverman sues Meta and OpenAI for copyright infringement. I think she's going to get a lesson in how copyright law in the U.S. currently works, not how she wishes it worked.
She's not alone, but she was the big name. There were some other people involved in this too.
Was it?
Supposedly,
I might be thinking of a different story. Wasn't it like there was stuff from her book that had made it into the AI data set, but it was not something that she had ever published online?
Yeah, the book has never been free online. And, not legally free online.
Yeah.
And it was able to summarize it in a way that she says she can prove it should not know without actually having read the actual text. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think she's throwing her money into a pit called legal fees.
Oh.
But she's got plenty. She'll be fine. And after she loses, maybe that she can get herself a nice big burrito dripping with avocado and guacamole to settle herself down after she loses.
Chipotle tests a robot that can prepare avocados to make guacamole faster. That robot's name is the most amazing thing ever, Avocado.
Oh.
Pretty obvious. So yeah, you just fill them up and it's able to deal with different sized avocados, strip the skin off, remove the core, and then you get just the halves.
Is it able to tell how ripe it is? Because that would be an incredible invention. Because I struggle to pick a good avocado.
Yeah, the employees were very complimentary of it, figuring all that out.
Imagine how annoying that is.
Yeah.
To peel and core 50 avocados.
What is my purpose?
You choose avocados.
So they claim that this process to make the guacamole is a 50-minute task by human hands, and now it's down to 25. Wonder what it would do if we just threw it a curveball, put an orange in there. I would be so tempted, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It has an existential crisis. Like,
This doesn't feel like an avocado.
Catches fire. Well, we got a hot new robot that is going to be heading into space, and the design is kind of a throwback, I guess.
NASA's quirky new lunar rover will be the first to cruise the moon's south pole. I don't think that's a quirk so much as a very well thought out engineering thing that is perhaps atypical from your expectations because you didn't spend thousands of hours just thinking about the kinds of things you're going to encounter on the moon.
And a big part of this is these here ramps. So as you can see, they got the left ramp is a different height than the right ramp because that's like, well, the lunar surface is not going to be perfect. So the ramp system, even though it looks like the same ramps that you might use for your lawnmower, actually state of the art. And we've learned that GM is looking to get automated cars with no controls at all. But with Waymo and what was the other one? There's another company. They're already doing this kind of thing. And it turns out the people of San Francisco and the other test markets don't all love them.
Robotaxi haters in San Francisco are disabling the AVs with traffic cones. Basically, you just pop a traffic cone on the hood, and then they turn the blinkers on because they don't know what to do.
Got him.
And of course, this
TikTok,
it's become a TikTok challenge, as everything has to. The company Waymo has said that this is vandalism. I don't know if it. I mean, if somebody put a traffic cone on my car while I was in a parking lot, I'd be upset. But does it vandalism?
I think I would be confused more than upset. I'd be like, well, who did this?
Well,
What's
these,
wrong?
These cars are definitely confused. It's a non-permanent way of resisting this.
Yes.
Could be worse. And China #1 when it comes to new rocket fuel.
China beats rivals to successfully launch its first methane-liquid rocket. Isn't this because it was insanely dangerous to use methane liquid?
But they say it's more environmentally friendly, so everybody's going to start doing it. They're going to fart their way into space.
Excellent.
Hell yeah. I like these kind of stories because we have quite a few good space stories this week where it kind of feels like, you know, all the horrible things you read in the news about how all these countries are at each other's throats. And then sometimes it's like, oh, everyone's congratulating each other because they got rockets up in the air.
Yeah, but they're going to put some bad stuff up there. And it's going to
No, everyone's just happy and it's just science for science sake, right?
Wait till it becomes militarized. I mean, it already is.
Space Force, yeah.
I think when the non-human intelligence describes our planet's history, that this will be a milestone. It's like, and then they used liquefied cow farts to get into space.
Primitive.
Well, I guess if China farted its way into space, we must have to say that Jeff Bezos sharded on the launch pad.
Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket engine has exploded during testing. So that's going to set their timeline back just a bit.
They said that they kind of have an idea of what it is, but they didn't say in the article what it was.
It wasn't the CNBC version of this article, but the other version of this article I read. The author went out of their way to point out that Elon Musk's Falcon, whatever, is being reused the 16th time.
I think, didn't we have a story for that this week?
we did.
Oh, okay.
You're just merging
merging
things
them in
in.
my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, but we should also point out that Musk blew up some rockets.
Yeah.
This happens in space
Yeah.
exploration. It's part of the.
It's not a
testing
success
process.
every time.
But it does seem like Blue Origin is lagging behind their rocketry competitors.
Yeah, SpaceX is so far ahead of everybody else. It's just ridiculous. We forget that he does some stupid things, but he did have one major success, and that was this.
SpaceX pushes the envelope with a record-breaking 16th flight for a Falcon 9 booster. Yeah, we got a whole separate story on it.
I remember when people were talking about like, do you think we could use this 5 times?
Yeah. And now here we are.
And as of the time we're shooting this, it was done successfully. It did not explode.
Oh yeah, the update he got. This was a Skylink satellite rocket. It went up, it came down perfectly, landed on the name of the robotic boat that catches it is Just Read the Instructions. I gotta wonder though, let's say they push it to 20 and then number 20 blows up. Is he gonna catch a bunch of flack for like, what are you thinking 20? You're pushing it too far.
I mean, for science sake, you got to keep testing, right?
I think you would stop
There's no people on it.
having real commercial payloads if there was any doubt in your mind that it was going to be problematic.
I don't know.
I mean, it's really, we really shouldn't follow the Titan model where you just keep going up and down until something bad.
But
I was just thinking of the sub when you said that. I was like, wow.
let's say that I expected to run it 5 times. Instead, I ran it 16. And then on number 17, I lost some satellites. I'm still going to save a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
It's not the kind of business where you want to be doing that math, though.
Yeah.
It's like we should do everything we can to not have them blow up. But India has a space program, and they are not number 1. Unfortunately, they are number 4.
India
Still cool.
launches a lander and a rover to explore the moon's south pole. Is it weird there's a lot of interest around the moon's south pole now? What's going on down there?
Just want to go look at it.
So there's a Buc-ee's there.
Space Becky's.
It's got a special kind of jerky you can't get on the Earth Buc-ee's.
Definitely not a monument left by non-human intelligence that we've only just now noticed.
This is another good story, though. India, China, U.S., we're all up in space. Working together, right?
Not quite. But we can be happy for them. Here's a question, though. Of all of those various countries, who has the sexiest spacesuit?
Definitely SpaceX, right?
This one's looking pretty hot.
NASA expands the developers' contracts for its next-gen spacesuits. Axiom Space and Collins Aerospace will modify their designs for new purposes.
So they don't just have like one universal EVA suit. They've got one for on the ship. They got one that they're designing for the moon surface that's different. And I think they might have one other one.
I imagine there might be differences between men and women suits as well.
I think they just they tailor it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, these are pricey.
The lunar surface is apparently really problematic
couture.
because there's no wind, and so the dust on the moon is insanely sharp and jaggy, so it's very abrasive.
It's always telling racist jokes.
To the point that it's going to cause little micro tears in your suit and you're going to die. It's like, that cuts deep.
It's diatomaceous earth, but for humans.
Yeah, literally, because that's how it kills the roaches.
Yeah.
Our astronauts will be on their back on the moon. And let's hope that the reason they don't want, or the reason they're so interested in the South Pole, maybe is just because there's an alien base there. Could that be? Because once again, the government is pounding this alien drum, even though it's always a disappointment.
Bipartisan measure aims to force release of UFO records, led by Chuck Schumer. But again, okay, they've got, we covered this last week or the week before, but it's sort of taken shape a little more. This is, it's a bipartisan measure to force the records release. There's only a couple possible outcomes here, and none of them are good.
He's going to give them 300 days after an event to report it to his committee, I guess.
Another committee, yeah.
There's a special dispensation where if it's like absolutely like society will collapse if we tell people this, that the president can step in. Otherwise, it's a compulsion.
And so when nothing happens, it's going to be, oh, the conspiracy continues. And then if something happens, it'll be like, oh, what are they trying to distract from?
Well, here's a great one. If you are one of those people who believes that such a thing is real, they have some very interesting little items that they're studying right now.
Harvard professor Avi Loeb believes he's found fragments of alien technology. So there was a meteor that hit the water. We covered this, but this is a follow-up from that. They have recovered little spheres of metal that are made out of all sorts of elements, but they're little spheres of metal.
But stronger than iron.
Well, so if it was molten in the meteor and it hit water traveling really fast,
That would also explain the shape too, right? Like,
yeah, metal literally does this if it's molten and hits water really fast.
Yeah.
From like a volcanic eruption, if you hit a pocket of metal or whatever, it will do this.
Well, they're excited about them and they're studying them, and they were exactly where the meteor should have fallen. So we're pretty confident they did come from the meteor.
84% iron, 8% silicon, 4% magnesium, and 2% titanium, plus other trace elements. Okay. I mean, does this, I don't know enough about metallurgy, but things getting harder when they're quenched in water is a thing that happens to metal. I used to help my uncle make knives in summer. That was a thing that we did. It was like, we'll heat it up and then we'll quench it in metal and boom, it's stronger.
I looked this guy up, and some of the consensus online is that he might be hawking a book. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know him. So
I mean, it worked for Graham Hancock. He did the book on, some sort of precursor civilization, and it didn't really sell well. And then he added the chapter on maybe it was aliens, and then all of a sudden bestseller.
yeah, that was kind of the vibe I got with this guy too. So I mean, it is still cool. Like we should still research it.
It's like,
But
look, math unites all of these ancient civilizations. No mention of aliens. It's like, oh yeah. What if it was aliens that united the world with math? Bestseller.
Yeah, well, we've got people who are studying those kinds of things, advanced mathematics. We've got people who are going to space. And we got people who are doing this kind of thing.
Armed 8-year-old carjacker led cops on a chase, Alabama police say. And it's like, haha, the little kid had no idea what he was doing. Oh, no. No, that doesn't seem to be the case here at all.
Wrecked into another car
Oh.
during the chase, so caused an insane amount of problems.
And they were brandishing a firearm.
Because they're 8 years old, nothing will happen here. Maybe I would be different when I'm staring down the barrel of a gun, but in my mind, I'm thinking if it's an 8-year-old, I'm taking a chance. I'm going to try to get that gun away from him.
oh, you're so small. You just lift him out.
And then I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison for pistol whipping an 8-year-old. If you are at the store, you might notice more and more cages.
I thought you included this one because of Krista.
I haven't
What
stolen
does Krista
laundry
have to do with
detergent.
this?
Because she's mentioned before, it's like, the food
Oh, when
stamps
I-
people didn't buy detergent.
It
no,
wasn't
no.
even always food stamps. It was just people would steal laundry detergent.
I learned the secret of that. I'll tell you after
Okay.
this. But yes, we've heard about this before.
Nationwide trend of stealing laundry detergent from grocery stores hits Colorado. Why? Because America is really suffering right now economically.
It's a currency on the street. This has been a thing in Eastern Kentucky forever.
Since time immemorial. This
Yeah.
and Pepsi.
Yeah. Soda was
It's like,
really big.
will you cut my lawn? I'll give you 2 cases of Pepsi. All right, then.
We had to stop taking returnable glass bottles because people would return them, or they would use food stamps or something like that. They would buy the bottles, dump it out in the parking lot, and then come return the bottles for cash.
So the trick here is it's not food stamps, but there are similar programs for low-income healthcare people
Okay.
in which you can buy personal cleanliness items, which includes
Detergent.
detergent. And so you get like 100, 200 a month. It's like food stamps. You spend it or you lose it. So they go and buy all the Tide and then fence it on the black market. But now people are just stealing it.
There's I was talking about Peddler's Mall earlier. There is a booth that has a ton of detergent in Peddler's Mall, and I always wonder where that came from.
Well, now you know.
I
But-
suspected before, but
In terms of like value to weight and volume, this seems like a lot of stuff to carry out, right? When you're stealing.
what you do, or at least what they used to do when I worked at the grocery store, was like they would get like a couple cases of water or something, and then they would put it in the middle so you couldn't see it easily.
But you were onto that, like day 2, right?
Yeah, we started to, we had to start looking for it. You had to put a sticker on every item on the bottom of the cart. That was like a policy we had at the store I worked at.
Well, that's bad, and an 8-year-old carjacking is bad, but not as bad as this, which doesn't seem to have a motivation. This is just one of those weird random acts of violence that we see more and more of.
Man steals a forklift at Lowe's, runs over 73-year-old outside Home Depot, the cops say.
So he stole the forklift, crashed through the gate, tore it down, drove to the Home Depot for whatever reason, rammed this woman's car. She was inside. She fled the car, and he chased her down and ran her over. And he didn't steal anything other than the forklift. Why?
And the forklift came from Lowe's, not Home Depot.
Which is so insulting to Home Depot.
Do you have a preference? Like if you had to pick a home improvement store, which one do you pick?
Home Depot.
Am I basing it on the forklifts? I don't know.
Well, just no. Okay, so like,
Home Depot.
yeah, so we only have one option in our town, but like if you could pick either one and you could have either one in your town and have easy access to either.
Without question, Home Depot.
I really like Home Depot's ability to show me where things are in the store, and Lowe's sucks at that.
Yeah, Lowe's is very hit or miss on whether they're accurate on their website.
It was accurate for about like they rolled it out like the month before the pandemic, and it was like, this is amazing. And now no one cares about things being in the right place. So it's like, it says you have 37 of these in stock, but this bin is empty.
Yeah, I
It's
ran
like,
into that
I'm,
recently.
I'm just on my own to just scour the store looking for this.
I went one time and I was like, hey, it says this is in section whatever. It's like, wasn't even a number or letter. It was just some weird name. And the person was like, I don't think that exists.
Yeah, yes.
Just the cursed place. There's a witch living in Lowe's trying to get you to go in there.
One of the fittings on my mom's hot water heater was leaking, and so it's like, okay, this is going to be a pain. And I look at Lowe's and they're like, oh, they've got it. This is perfect. This is exactly what I need. And I go there, it's just nowhere to be found. And I was in a, like, it was one of those moment of inspiration. It was like, okay, if I were an underpaid restock person and I were not looking too closely at this, where would I put this? And I thought about it for a second and I was like, oh, I wonder if they're over here. And they were.
There's an old man at Lowe's. If you can find him, he'll find whatever you need. But he's not always there, or I can't always find him.
He's with the witch, luring unsuspecting customers.
She's using her magic to give him special Lowe's powers.
It's a weird trade they've made.
My secret ability is, I'm psychically know where all the inventory is.
Well, we did a story, I guess, a week or two ago at this point, and we found out that Harvard, one of the Harvard morgues was trading body parts in some sort of weird underground scheme. We had the question of who would buy that and why. Maybe we have some answers now.
Apparently somebody that lives out just outside of Louisville. These are only my dead friends, quote unquote, Kentucky man said, as police found skulls and human remains as home decor at his place. Very dark.
He had one on his bedside. I think he had one holding a candle somewhere. Obviously, we got no pictures because that's a crime
Well, it is.
scene.
It is a human person.
But there is no path for you to get your friends' skulls after they die, right?
No, I think
don't
this
think
was just random stuff that he bought from the medical
Vendors?
examiner.
No, but his argument was that somehow these were people he knew and he came into possession of their skulls.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm pretty sure, like, if you get cremated or something, you only get the ash. You don't get the bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that you can say, like, hey, why don't you clean these off and just return the bones to me because I like them. I don't think that's allowed.
No.
Which is weird, but also weird to have them in your home.
It's like when you go to the dentist and you ask them for your tooth, and a lot of times they're like, no.
Or it's like a biohazard.
Sometimes they won't give you your tooth back.
They gave me my kidney stones.
Oh yeah, I remember that. You were like, I was like, why would you want that?
They gave Shatner his also. He was like, that was one of the first things that sold for a crazy amount of money online. It was like Golden Palace
Ugh.
bought Shatner's kidney stones for like $25,000 or something.
Well, a woman who could have purchased those a couple of years ago, but now probably outside her
Kidney
spending
stone
budget.
list.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Holmes' printing sentence was quietly reduced by 2 years. And this is an article to just say exactly that. And they asked why, and the Texas Department of Corrections said, yeah, we don't know. Probably because she did some kind of program to reduce her sentence.
Yeah, I
Still-
assume maybe good behavior, but she's not been in very long.
She's still got 9 years to go, though.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while for Liz. Wonder how those kids are doing.
She'll. I would say that there's probably at least a 50% chance she's pardoned in the next 2 years.
But what will she do then? Reality show?
Write some
Write
books.
a book, yeah. See a book.
Wonder if she gets any commission from the Netflix thing. Probably not.
Oh, the
No,
show,
no
yeah.
chance. No chance you allowed that at all. Well, the world is some weird things are happening to it. Things are not going well, and some people think that they're going to correct that all by themselves.
The secret movement to bring back Europe's wildlife.
This was a cool article.
The
I
guy-
thought it was interesting.
The guy capturing the pigeon on the roof said that because we got on the topic of ticks, and the guy on the roof that's capturing all the pigeons said that they are trying to reintroduce species that eat ticks.
Well, this guy, I can't remember what country it was in Europe. Maybe it was Britain. There's a native beaver that has basically gone extinct, and he just found a guy who sells beavers and was like, all right, I'm just going to start throwing them in the rivers around here. And it actually kind of worked out, which is odd. You might think that there might be worse side effects to that, but it seems to have been a good thing overall.
He said there was some kind of possum that used to be more prevalent that liked eating ticks more, but it's been pushed out by another kind of possum. And I was like, there's more than one kind of
The
possum.
possum, they're all mean, at least here.
All this giant article, not a single beaver pick.
There's one in there. It's at a distance, though. He's swimming through the
Oh,
water.
you're talking about the
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one? Oh, that's not.
Not a good picture.
That could be anything. That's like a Loch Ness monster picture.
Maybe that's what they're going to reintroduce next. They're going to find a shady guy online.
And if you are looking for just the perfect swimming temperature,
Ugh.
Florida's got it for you right now.
Florida ocean water just hit a quote unquote boiling at 97 degrees. That's bad for several reasons, not the least of which is the coral is probably going to bleach and die.
Ugh.
Have you guys noticed that I saw several stories about this kind of thing, There was also, I saw a story about the refugees landing on the beaches in France. They always go with Bikini Girl for the thumbnail
Oh, the
picture.
photo. I
'Cause,
saw another story about the ocean water being really hot and how it's changing the color of the ocean, but it was just a picture of the ocean. No bikini girl.
That's why it's not here, because nobody ever clicked on that one. They only click on the Bikini Girl pictures.
Not great, but can you imagine getting in the water and just feeling like bath water?
That's the sensory deprivation tanks. That's how they work.
Oh yeah.
When you can't tell the difference, because it's salt water, and then you can't tell, you're buoyant, plus you can't tell the difference between your skin and the water. Apparently that's when you start to trip. You go crazy.
One of my professors did that when he was like in the 70s. He said it was a weird experience.
Imagine how they're good. They're probably way better now.
Yeah.
It's funny, you can reproduce that exact same experience in electronics. If you have a circuit that's got automatic gain control and there's no signal for it to latch onto, it just goes insane.
Well, someone at Burger King is apparently spending a lot of time in those tanks because they've done something that just defies reason.
Too much. Burger King's new offering in Thailand has no meat and 20 slices of cheese. There's somebody that's commented on some of our videos saying that sometimes they have a cheese sandwich that's just like 3 or 4 slices of cheese and bread.
That's because we did the story last week about the guy that ate that sandwich.
Yeah.
So he would love this, I'm sure. Although it looks like garbage cheese, right?
Yeah, it's not.
American cheese, which some have said is not the greatest cheese.
I really miss the cheese counter at the liquor store that closed because it had actual high quality cheese. Like I would go in there just to get cheese. I can't even have that anymore. I can have a little bit of cheese.
Yeah, so you can eat a little, right?
Can you have ice cream?
I could probably have a little tiny bit.
Actually, I'm not sure that this is actual ice cream, as in cream based. I think this might be more of an ice pop, like sugar water frozen.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not about that. It's about the form factor.
Ninja Sword ice cream. Look at that. That's a frozen water. You get it in Ninja Sword format, I guess.
I'm imagining like an icy consistency.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's actually holding a little stick there, so you don't hold it by the handle. That's also parts that you eat.
Those usually fall apart though, because like if you take an icy completely out of its package, it just crumbles.
Imagine how hard that would be to ship.
But look how cool it would be on your mantle.
You ship it in liquid form and then freeze it in.
That is how
would
they
it
sell.
maintain?
That's how they sell them. When
no
you
way.
go to like Dollar General and you get the giant thing of
But
popsicles.
not this one, because like the handle has patterns and stuff on it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like you could just refreeze this in a rigid container.
Oh yeah.
It's actually just frozen gelatin.
Well, they mentioned they have different kinds of ice cream products, and this one probably did not contain cream. But also, this is a ninjutsu sword, not a katana.
Oh,
So-
of course.
Yeah, for all of you fedora wearers out there, we know.
On the way here, I was behind a car that had like, I don't know what it was, but it was clearly some sort of Japanese name, and then it had dragons around the license plate, and I was like, I can smell the weeb coming off of this. I know, I saw you.
There's a truck that I see running around sometimes that has these giant mud off-road tires, and in the back where the shotgun would be is just 3 swords, like the 3 katanas on the thing.
so
It's
cool.
just like, yeah, okay, sounds good.
That's a road rage disaster waiting to happen.
At least it's not atypical to see a shotgun back there, but 3 swords, really? Okay.
Well, the problem with that is that people don't behave rationally, and then they've got a sword. And what could make them go off, unhinged and hurt people? Well, how about more caffeine than any human should ever ingest?
The FDA is being asked to look into Logan Paul's energy drink, which has the caffeine of 6 Coke cans.
Local interest story. It popped up for me this week.
They're just
This is just
printing
it's from
at
AP.
this
Yeah.
point. They're not even trying. But you guys remember Four Loko?
Yeah.
Remember, Four Loko got people to do some really weird stuff. Now that introduces alcohol, but how many people are going to mix this with vodka?
People will just drink this before they go to work. When I used to work at the grocery store, a lot of my coworkers just drank an energy drink for breakfast.
We are hopelessly addicted to caffeine as a country. Actually,
Can't confirm.
there's an audiobook that's on my queue of a guy who's making the argument that caffeine drove industrialization for the entire world.
I mean,
Because the whole tea thing.
I've read a shortened version of that with like British tea and their insatiability for tea, and that motivated a lot of things.
Well, this is a crazy story in that the headline is not even the weirdest part of the story. I don't know who this person is, but it's a great tale.
Florida man's double life is exposed in the hospital when his wife meets his fiance.
Oh,
Yeah.
But that's not the craziest part about the story. The craziest part about the story is he was so controlling that after that, one of them left him. I can't remember which one. And he's like a billionaire or something. So he used all his resources to murder her next boyfriend.
oh no.
Yeah, there was a weird wrinkle there too where he said, "Oh, we're staying together because of convenience, but she knows that we're not really together, but we're staying together because convenience." And
So a lie.
I want to keep dating you on the side, and that was apparently okay for a while.
Well, I think that was because of his riches.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to reload this page because we need this video to be playing while you run the headline.
That's very
Now,
cute.
If we continue with these, tactical beavers everywhere, how long until everything is like this in our world? How long until we can't go anywhere without these kinds of attacks?
An otter was caught stealing a surfboard in California. It's not the first time she's done it.
That's right. Take back what's yours.
Stealing is a weird way to describe this. I don't know if the otter really wanted to keep this, but this was definitely aggressive.
Mine.
What do you do in this situation?
Kind of with this guy. He's trying to get her off of it.
Here's the flip. He's going to try the flip.
Oh, and she's still on it.
So apparently this otter is a big problem, and so much that they're putting up warnings.
Warning, ill-tempered otter.
Yeah. Oh, it's like 25 pounds. Okay.
You get this a lot for geese. I probably did not sort this correctly. No, I didn't.
Oh.
But we have another story that's
There's
similar.
a 25% chance of otter today. You otter know.
But if we can get a Alanis Morissette thumbnail, we could use that as the title. Also, our world has changed because of social media and phones in our pockets, and some people are hopelessly addicted to them. And apparently that is more than just a human drive. That is just primate.
The Toronto Zoo wants you to stop showing the gorillas your cell phone. Here's why. The alpha gorilla is more interested in the cell phone than anything else. He wants to see tablets and phones, and the zoo actually said that he's interested in all manner of gadgets. So I have a feeling that people have been showing him stuff. Yeah. So he doesn't want to interact with anybody. He'd just rather have some technology to goof off with.
My favorite thing is that he learned that, because they would show him pictures of other gorillas, especially females he's a big fan of. And he learned to do the swipe sign to them so that they would move to a new picture. They also point out that all kinds of animals are experiencing this kinds of thing. Some of them, they've done a coin-operated treat dispensers in the primate enclosures so they can interact with something and have enrichment, I guess. And
What happens when it runs out of treats and they get angry?
they probably just destroy it, right?
Yeah.
I think another one was maybe foxes. I don't know, but they're doing touch screens. I think there's no way they know what effect this is going to have, right? They're just like, let's see what happens.
If they don't want the gorillas to see it, maybe we shouldn't be using it as often on ourselves.
But, he's ignoring his family for the screen time. It's like, wow, how many times has that story played out? And when you mentioned the pigeons, we actually had some of this technology on this building at some point and can confirm
They do not care.
useless.
Crows and magpies using anti-bird spikes to build nests, researchers find.
In our case, the pigeons didn't even move them. They just built on top of them.
Yeah, it was impressive. They were like, oh, there's anti-pigeon spikes here. Let me just go grab some cardboard and put on top of the spikes. It's like, how did you guys did you grip it by the husk? How did you even get this up here?
I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed.
They do some impressive stuff. These guys, I don't know how they disconnect them. Like, is that just a weather thing? Or-
It's the new subspecies, carpenter pigeons.
Oh, no. I'm glad you included this because I actually had this from a different source and I started to add it and then I was like, oh, good, it's already here.
And you could file this under, like, I don't think you understood the text.
How Jurassic Park is becoming a reality 30 years later.
They should really read the novel where it becomes even more obvious what the message is.
No, but he says that the number one question he gets, obviously, is, have you read that book? And he's like, yeah, that's what motivated me. But then everybody's like, yeah, but
The whole point is it fails at multiple points repeatedly, no matter how many fail safes they put into it.
My favorite part is how he says that the failsafe they put in is not a good failsafe, and he came up with a better failsafe, and it's like, oh, does your stuff have that failsafe? And he's like, no.
oh, did you spare no expense?
The amino acid thing is how they handled the gender, but then they spontaneously changed genders. And then the software was written to always look for a certain number of dinosaurs, but they never anticipated they would breed. And it just keeps spiraling like that the entire time. It's a great book.
Oh, there's a tiny X right there. Yeah, so this is the guy that's trying to bring back the mammoth. He wants to make woolly mammoths again.
And it's not like we're going to take the woolly mammoth DNA and bring it back. No, we're going to take the woolly mammoth's Asian cousin and copy paste in some genes and hope we end up with something that's vaguely like the woolly mammoth, but it's actually probably something different.
He also made arguments. He was like, yeah, this is very important work because, climate change. It was like, what, you mean climate change that killed the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Did we burn too much coal in the Mesozoic era or whatever? Oh, look, there's an excessive heat warning in Austin.
They're under a heat dome right now.
This is the other story
Florida.
that should have been sorted with the otter.
Hawk attacks mail delivery temporarily in South Austin neighborhood. Why? Because the hawk is nesting directly on top of a mail route.
I watched, I don't know what kind of bird it was, maybe like a mockingbird. I watched it attack a cat in my neighborhood the other day.
Wow.
It was just swooping down and like chasing the
What
cat.
was the cat doing?
The cat was just walking by.
But I mean, did it like fight back or what?
It ran away. It was like, oh, I don't want to be around that. Probably again because there's a nest.
To be fair, that cat would delightfully kill all those babies.
Yes.
I'm so excited to do
Yes. I don't know about the mail delivery guy doing that to the hawk babies.
Well, if you live in this neighborhood, you got to go to the post office to get your mail right now. And people are like, well, how can you say you...
Sunshine,
Yeah.
whatever, snow.
And they're like, it's only for a limited amount of time. Those babies are going to grow up and then everything will be okay. And you get your mail back.
Until the hawk comes back. And it's like, this was a great neighborhood to raise our kids. Let's raise some more.
I have such good memories of attacking people there. And this one, it sounds like something that's not a big deal, but then when you read the details, I think this is a very disturbed individual.
Yeah. Police rushed to home to reports of a screaming woman only to find a very loud parrot.
One of 22 in the home.
Ooh,
Imagine what that place smells like.
not great.
No.
Probably not a good quality of life for these parents. It might have been screaming to like, hey, rehome me.
Parrots are one of those pets too you really have to think ahead with because they live for a long time.
They can suffer for decades
Yeah.
in a horrible place like that. And when you're trying to find a bird to take home and love, there's plenty to go around. You don't have to fight.
Police called to Tatnam Road and Pool over fight over duck.
This was a terrible story because no one ever found any of either the combatants or the duck. It may have all just been actually fabricated.
It's AI generated. We all hallucinate. We're usefully wrong about that.
That would be a great clickbait story because
We clicked it.
yeah. And I think these baby pandas might be the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. As like horrific and disgusted and covered in viscera as they are still adorable.
Giant panda gives birth to squirming, squeaking, healthy twin girls at South Korean theme park. Is it going to do the normal thing pandas do where they abandon one of them?
Aren't pandas also just sort of bewildered by the whole reproduction thing?
Yeah.
Also, it'd be great if, because it's a Chinese panda, I'd be like, female children?
Oh,
No, thank you.
No, they need all the pandas they can get. They'll
Now,
probably have to trick the mother into caring for both of them by making her think she's only caring for one of them.
in terms of the size of the baby to the size of the animal, this has got to be one of the most extreme ratios in nature, right? Look at those little things.
they're very small. Well, if they were twins, I don't know enough about panda birth to say, but if they're twins, maybe it's not normal to have more than one. I don't know.
But a cat can have like 12 of those size things.
Yeah.
They look so happy.
Have you seen when they did have the baby hippo at the Cincinnati Zoo?
Oh, yeah. Baby
That
hippos
was
are
really,
super
really cute.
Yeah.
They will rip you to shreds, but they are so cute.
Baby hippos might be one of the biggest ratios in terms of baby cuteness versus hideousness of the adult animal.
Yeah.
Because at some point, they hit puberty and it's all over.
I mean, they're still cute, but it's like, oh, that thing could rip my arm off and not think anything of it.
Well, Panda probably could too.
Pandas kind of seem a little derpy from every clip I've ever seen of one.
We literally did a story where somebody raised a hippo from birth, and then one day the hippo was just like, nope.
I'm
and just-
done now. Yeah.
And just murdered the crap out of the guy.
And maybe not even on purpose.
I think
Yeah.
they're the most dangerous animal in Africa, like even over like crocodiles and everything else they've got there, because there's so many issues with them like popping up in rivers. Scary.
We should start doing baby animal beauty contests.
I'm sure that exists. Have we seen the fattest bear contest yet this year?
That's when you're heading into the winter, though, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
That's
It's
coming up in the
combination.
fall.
Something to look forward to.
Not unlike Devember, sponsored by Linode. Use those Linode credits.
You know what you should spin up? You should spin up a website dedicated to pictures of baby pandas.
That doesn't even require the tiny Linode instance. You could use their static bucket hosting for that. You don't even need a virtual machine. You've wasted another perfectly good week with us. We will see you next
We
week.
appreciate it.